Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a little bit more of a training mindset conceptual video. We are going to be talking about paralysis by analysis, what it is, why it is the absolute worst thing for neurodivergent people to get stuck in if they want to make progress in the gym, and a little bit about kind of trusting in the body and the body's ability to learn rather than being really stuck in our head and stuck in our brain. So I'm a big believer, whether you are a complete beginner to any skill in general, or you already have a pretty good skill set at certain things, that it is really important to always be learning new skills. I think keeping a sense of that kind of beginner's mind is really, really good for us. It keeps us humble, it keeps us curious, and it keeps us growing in the long term rather than getting comfortable in where we are right now. But when we are trying to learn new skills, it can be really daunting, especially at the start. A lot of the times we don't really have a framework for even where to begin. And this can lead us to what a lot of people call paralysis by analysis. So I would define paralysis by analysis as wanting to learn every single thing about a task before you begin said task. And kind of just off the jump, this isn't an entirely bad impulse. I think that being prepared for things is good. I think that you should put some thought into whatever you're doing. But it's when that analysis leads to paralysis and leads to inaction that it can be a really, really big issue for us. We all have a friend who has a bookshelf completely rammed full of self-help books, of meditation books, of books on every single topic for self-development, but their life is still a fucking mess. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about paralysis by analysis. It's this impulse to gather and hoard information in place of actually taking those uncertain, awkward, scary first steps into something new and something unknown. I think that there are two really common reasons, at least in my personal experience, why people kind of gravitate towards this paralysis by analysis. I think the first one is just insecurity. Nobody wants to look stupid. Nobody wants to feel like an idiot doing things wrong, especially in the context of training, where oftentimes it's in public, around strangers. It might not be an environment that you're particularly comfortable navigating yet. So I totally get the impulse of, I just want to be able to start when I'm really confident and I'm really comfortable, so no one's going to judge me, so I don't need to look like a fool in front of all these strangers. Now, fortunately, like a lot of things in life, I think this is quite a simple fix, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily easy. You just kind of got to get over it, man. As someone that's been in gyms for a very, very long time, both working in gyms and just existing in gyms as someone training there, nobody really cares about people doing stupid shit, especially newer people. I think it's this big idea that gyms are full of super judgmental people, that if you are suspected of being new or not really knowing what you're doing, you are just going to get mocked and brutally made fun of by a load of jack guys in really skinny vests. I'm not saying that this never happens, but it is very, very rare. And if people do judge you for being new in the gym, then fuck them. Who cares? At the end of the day, you're there for you. You're there for your own self-development. You're there for your own health. You don't need to worry about anybody else's opinions of what you're doing there. You are doing the right thing just by getting started. I fully appreciate that you might be watching this and thinking, it's easy for you to say, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it is easy for me to say because I was there. I was that person that felt really awkward in the gym, didn't really know what I was doing, and did a lot of dumb shit back in the day. But the only way that I got over that and got confident and got to the point where I am able to very happily and very casually be in a gym environment is just because I did it a million times. That is unfortunately the only way to get to that place of confidence. And I also think for some people, not in every case, but for some people, it is almost this kind of disguised narcissism. It's this idea of you feel like you're the main character of the universe and everybody is paying attention to you. Everybody has opinions about the things that you're doing and the things that you're not doing. This just isn't true. It's really good news because this means that you are totally free to do whatever stupid shit you like, because even if you are doing completely mental stuff in the gym, at best, you're going to be in somebody's brain for 10 seconds. And then they are going to go back to their life, their workout, whatever they've got going on. You're not the main character. I'm very sorry to break it to you. So you can kind of let go of that kind of narcissistic impulse to think that it's all revolving around you. Because thankfully, it's not. Like I said at the beginning, if you feel embarrassed doing something new, that's a sign that you need to lean into that. That's a sign, that discomfort, that you're doing something that is challenging, that is going to make you grow, both mentally and physically. So if you are feeling that kind of resistance, that's how you know you're in the right place, and you need to just keep pushing through that, because all the stuff that you want, all those self-development goals, all those fitness goals are on the other side of that awkwardness. So just keep pushing through it and you're going to get there. That paralysis by analysis, that endless researching of the topic is never going to make that feeling go away, because that feeling is really somatic. It's really in the body. The only way that you're going to push past that feeling of resistance and awkwardness is by doing it so many times that it is no longer awkward and no longer scary. The only way out, unfortunately, is through. I think that for a lot of people as well, the second reason that this paralysis by analysis snares so many people is because it feels very rewarding. The kind of feelings of like mental gratification that you get from learning about a topic and reading about a topic and listening to a podcast about a topic, that feeling that you get from like acquiring more knowledge is like very similar to the feeling that you get from actually doing the thing. The only difference is you don't get any results from purely intellectualizing it, especially when it's something like fitness and in the gym. Coming back to that example of the friend that has got a million self-help books, but their life is still a hot mess. It's the same thing. It's just mental masturbation. If we actually want to progress and really earn those feelings of gratification, we have to actually do the thing. And that seeking of dopamine is why I think that so many people with ADHD, so many neurodivergent people, fall into this trap of analysis paralysis. As someone with primarily symptoms of ADHD, I can only largely speak to that experience as opposed to a more like autism forward experience of neurodivergence. But at least for me, this feeling of getting really, really into something, hyperfixating on this one topic, but then being aware that you're going to drop it pretty soon, this is really kind of tied into that, because it's that idea of you want all the gratification that comes with the learning curve and like getting those new achievements in a new field without the resistance and the difficulty and the awkwardness that often comes with learning a new skill, especially if it's something completely foreign to you that you've never done before. As much as I think it's great and it is very rewarding, learning a new skill is not always fun. You are going to come up against frustration and resistance because you're just not that good at it yet. And at least if your brain works anything like mine, you do get a lot of gratification from being good at something. And especially if you have certain natural aptitudes to certain things and you're used to things coming very naturally and very easily to you, when you run up against something where it doesn't come naturally to you, for a lot of people, myself included, the urge is just to run away. The urge is to be like, fuck this, I do not want to get involved in this. I'm going to go do stuff that I don't really have to try at, because that's a much more straightforward route to that kind of dopamine and that kind of like reward circuitry. Like, ask yourself, how many times have you got really excited because you found a new program or a fresh diet that you haven't trained before, or even just like a new exercise that you think is really, really going to contribute to your development as an athlete or someone that goes to the gym? You've gotten super excited about it, you're really, really fired up, and then you just drop it after a couple of weeks. If you're anything like me, this is a very familiar story to you. This is something that's happened to you a million times. And especially for brains like ours, studying stuff can be fun. Just the simple act of just like acquiring that knowledge can be a really fun pastime. I think when it becomes more dangerous and more kind of harmful to our development as human beings is when it is on a topic which does require, when the thing that we're researching is something like health or self-development or fitness, when we're getting all of that kind of reward circuitry in our brain and all that dopamine, but we're not actually engaging physically in the task itself. This isn't just not getting us closer to our fitness goals, it's actually pushing us further in the other direction. A good analogy to explain it is I am a massive nerd. I love fantasy, I love sci-fi, I love video games, I love all sorts of different things. I'm actually putting together my first Warhammer 40k army at the moment, Leagues of Votan. And I love world building. That's one of the things that I really get a lot of joy out of from these like really dorky topics, is like I love going on like the wikis and like learning everything there is to know about these like fantasy worlds, how they work, the real like nitty gritty mechanics of them. It's really fun to like immerse yourself in the socioeconomic climate of World of Warcraft and like treat it like an academic subject, to really dive deep and just kind of let it kind of rush all over you. That's really fun, at least for me. And this is fine because it's a hobby. I recognize that for something to be fun, it doesn't necessarily have to be productive. Something can be just enjoyable for the sake of the action of doing it. But when that kind of impulse for research and hyperfixation goes to something like fitness, especially if we're not already training quite hard and quite regularly, this can be really, really, really bad for making progress, because not only are we getting that kind of reward circuitry, we're getting that dopamine, but we're getting it without actually having to put in the hard work for it, and without getting any of the physiological adaptations or just like the general life improvements that we get from engaging in fitness. This can be really, really bad for any kind of productive relationship with fitness, because unlike my nerdy hobbies, where I recognize that it's not inherently productive and it doesn't have to be, when you are getting super, super stuck in these rabbit holes of things that are ostensibly productive, you feel like you are doing something productive. You feel like you're moving forward. And that can actually kind of deaden and blunt the urges that you feel to push yourself and to improve your fitness and your health. You get the gratification of doing something meaningful and productive, but without any of the rewards to show for it. And this can get us stuck in a rut super easily. Like, it's one thing if you are a person that is just completely disconnected and disengaged from fitness, but on some level, you know that you probably should start working out. You know that it's good for you. You know that some people, crazy people, find it fun. And you know that it's a thing that is kind of there that you might feel some pull towards or some push towards at some point. But it's much more sneaky and insidious when you feel like you're already doing these constructive things, because that way you don't feel that sense of urgency. You don't feel that, oh man, I've really got to get my shit together and like start working out. Because your brain, from all the research and all like the information you're consuming, your brain feels like you're already participating in it. So that urge, that drive, is somewhat muted, and this can make getting started way harder and really delay any kind of progress that we want to see with our health and fitness. A phrase that I come back to a lot, I'm not sure if you can see it from the camera angle, but it's on my little affirmations board here, is bias towards action. All this means is if you're at least on some level stuck between deciding whether to keep learning and keep researching something or actually try it and actually give it a go, you should always err on the side of just getting stuck in and giving it a go. At the end of the day, you have to have some skin in the game. All the planning and strategizing in the world is never going to actually do anything for how you feel in your body. What is going to do something for that is actually getting stuck in and getting to work and beginning the process today. And this is even easier to do than ever with social media as well. So many people consume fitness content as just this mindless process of consumption. Maybe, hopefully you're not, maybe you're doing that with this video. But what I really want to kind of impress on you is there is no podcast, there is no influencer, there is no reel, there is no fitness exercise tier list that's actually going to get you bigger biceps. If you want to start training, if you want to be stronger, faster, fitter, more athletic, if you want to be healthier, if you want to be able to show up for your friends, your family, your loved ones better, if you want to be more physically capable, the only way to do that is to actually do the work. And it is more than okay to do that work imperfectly. It is so fine if weeks, months, years down the line, you look back at the way you were training when you started and you cringe a bit and you think you were being stupid. That's totally fine and that's allowed. I've changed my mind on so many things over the lifespan of my fitness career. And I'm sure that I will continue to do that for as long as I'm able and willing to keep training. And that's fine. I don't regret any of them because they were all necessary steps to kind of get me where I am today and to figure out how I like to train, to help clarify my opinions on fitness. I couldn't be where I am today without a lot of the goofy shit that I did when I was 17. There's no rule in fitness that says that whatever you do on your first week in the gym, you have to do it forever. You can always change your mind. You can always mix things up. You can always learn and grow and develop. I think that some people think that you have to choose between rushing in before you're ready and making loads of mistakes or spending years and years researching and studying to get everything perfect. You can just do them at the same time. If you're training and you're regularly in the gym, I think it's good to keep learning, to stay a bit more switched on, to really want to understand how training and fitness works. I think that's a great impulse. But it's when that impulse takes over the actual practical, getting your hands dirty work, that's when we've got an issue. So yeah, that is the video, guys. A little bit more of a rambly one today, but I think it's one that I feel quite passionately about because it's something that I've struggled with. It's something that a lot of my clients and people that I meet in real life have struggled with. So hopefully you found this useful. And the main takeaway that I want you to take from this video is just get started. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you fuck it up. It doesn't matter if you look back and you feel like a fool for doing the things that you're doing. Just get started. It's that old cliche saying, it's cliche for a reason. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now. So turn off this video, subscribe, check me out on Instagram, DM me for coaching inquiries, like the video, blah, 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 all the social media bullshit. Do all that stuff. Then get off your phone, go to the gym, go train, get out there, get started today.